Why, hello there. We made it to Tuesday, January the 11th. That is right. January the 11th. And Austin elections are coming around. There's actually an election going on for District 4. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it. The people I follow on Twitter seems to like Jade, so maybe she'll get elected, maybe not. I don't really mean I do have skin in the game, but I can't vote because it's not my district. With that being said, we got to talk about taxes. More taxes are coming. Now, this video went into my feed. Of course, it's not going to come. That's awesome. Let's see here. Firefox. There we go. I watched this video and the video prior from the Economic Ninja. But I want to read the article that he was reading from, which is the new Form 1099-K reporting coming in 2022. Reporting rules are changing for certain businesses beginning in 2022. Debbie Filger of the EY Financial Services Organizations highlight what you need to know about the Form 1099-K payment card and third-party network transactions. That's right, if you use Venmo, PayPal, all of them, doesn't matter which one it is, you're going to be affected by this. Even if it's very harmless, you don't really make a lot of money. If it's a hobby or a garage sale, if it's miscategorized, you're going to end up paying taxes on it. Even if you're not supposed to be paying taxes on it, it's up to you to prove the burden that the report is wrong, which is a shame. I mean, it's time to make the world's largest cup of tea, I believe. Beginning in the tax year 2022, which is this year, individuals, partnerships, LLCs, and corporations that earn more than $600 throughout the year through various online venues will start receiving a Form 1099-K payment card and third-party network transactions, which that income will be reported to themselves and to the IRS. This change will substantially increase the numbers of forms of 1099-Ks required to be filed with the IRS and furnish receipts in early 2023. Traditionally, merchants have received a Form 1099-K reporting on their gross proceeds from their payment card transactions with de minimis thresholds. However, for 2021 and prior years, the payments through various marketplaces and payments processors, third-party settlement organizations, or TPSOs that conduct buyers and sellers were only subject to reporting when the amount paid to a single payee during the calendar year exceeds 20K and the aggregated number of transactions with the payee during the calendar year exceeds 200. That means if you're doing 200 transactions and you make 200 or more than 20K, it gets reported as income, which is a good threshold. I think they should have kept it. But, our federal government can't say no to tax increases. Now, as a result, a provision in the Americans Rescue Plan Act of 2021, if a TPSO or its electronic payment facilitators or the EPF makes payments totaling more than $600 in the calendar year to a payee, it will be required to report those payments on a Form 1090-K. Importantly, many Web 2.0 e-commerce websites and gig economy services or TPOs form a 1099-K reporting purposes. Who is required to report? A TPOs must report payments made through a third-party network. A third-party payment network is any agreement or arrangement that involves the establishment of accounts with a central organization by a substantial number of providers of goods and services, generally considered to be more than 50, that are unrelated to a central organization that have agreed to settle transactions for a provision of goods and services with a purchaser according to an agreement or arrangement to provide their standards and mechanism for settlement of such as transactions and guarantees payment to the providers for goods or services in the settlement of transactions with the purchaser. Of course, there's an exception to the reporting by the TPSO for payments made through an EPF when the TPSO contracts with an EPF to make payments in the settlement of a third-party network transactions on behalf of the TPSO. The EPF must file a form of a 1099-K in lieu of the TPSO if the EPF submits instructions to transfer funds to the account of a participating payee in the settlement of reporting transaction. So who will receive a 1099-K in the future? Homeowners who rent out their vacation properties throughout a marketplace typically do not receive a Form 1099-K under the existing rules because they usually do not meet the 200 transactions per year threshold. Similarly, sellers of collectibles on the internet rarely meet the threshold. Likewise, many individuals who seek to earn extra cash via online websites by making deliveries, cleaning houses, babysitting, or performing other services, frequently not earning more than $20K during a calendar year. However, under the new rule, these property owners and gig workers will now receive 2022 forms 1099-K reporting their extra income if in January if that income exceeds $600. Doesn't matter if it's one payment, two payments, three payments, 20 payments. If it exceeds $600, you're going to get a 1099-K. The form's 1099-K will not reflect various deductible expenses associated within the extra income such as utilities and depreciation of homeowners, bases and property sold by the seller, or the cost of mileage for delivery drivers, all which must be factored in before any taxable income is determined. For example, a model train collector may have paid $5,000 for a model train pieces over several years, and now they sell for $8,000. The marketplace has introduced seller to the buyer, through which the sale took place, may charge the seller a fee of $800. It may cost the model train seller $200 in postage to send the pieces to your buyer. The Form 1099 that the seller will receive, the TSP will report $8,000 in gross proceeds paid. However, the seller taxable gain from the sale will only be $2,000. As a result, collectors and other online sellers will need to keep extensive records of their expenses going forward to avoid over-reporting of income and overpayment of tax. So the burden is on to us to prove to the IRS that we didn't make $8,000, we made $2,000, or the sofa that we sold, along with the dining room table, along with a couple of books at a garage sale that we're trying to get rid of because we're moving. We have to keep those receipts, and no one's going to keep those receipts, so we're going to be hit with higher taxes, all because the greedy federal government. Also consider an alternative: a teenager who walks a dog earns extra money. If their income in 2022 exceeds $600, their expenses will be maybe limited to fees charged by the website and connect them to the pet owners, but they will owe income tax and possibly self-employment tax on other income they earn. It's important to note that the transaction for personal gifts, charitable contribution, and reimbursement are specifically excluded from the Form 1099-K reporting. Most TPSO will likely attempt to identify such transactions based on their user agreements, which are generally specific whether the user will be using the website for personal or commercial transaction. So while a pool maintenance company that receives payment for its services through Cash App may receive forms in 1099-K, in the future, friends sending money to reimburse one for their theater tickets and purchase a group should not. This is because the pool company should have a commercial agreement, while the friends should use personal agreements when signing up for the apps. The mechanics. The Form 1099-K filer must report the gross amount reported to the transaction to each month and for the entire year in separate boxes on the Form 1099-K. In addition, the filer must obtain each payer identification number 10 before making a reporting payment, or the filer must impose a backup withholding at a rate of 24% on the gross amount of the payment. At this time, there is no specific method by which payers' TIN must be collected. However, there has been at least one proposal that would require the Form 1099-K filers to collect payees' TIN onto the IRS, form a W-9, request taxpayer identification number, and certification under penalty of perjury to avoid backing up withholding. Payees must be sure to provide their TIN to the TPSO and the EPFs when they're registered using the site. This column does not necessarily reflect the opinion of the Bureau of National Affairs or its owners. So the skinny is, if you're running a business, you gotta pay taxes. As much as we hate paying taxes, if you're trying to do a side hustle, you gotta pay taxes on the income. The question is, how accurate is this reporting going to be? Is there going to be mistakes going to be made? Absolutely. And the burden is going to be on you to fix those mistakes. Whether you accidentally hit the wrong checkbox, or if the company itself says, hey, we think your account's sus, we're treating you like a business, so therefore a 1099-K must be filed. Or if let's say if you're running a business, but yet you also have a garage sale and you just want to make it easy for people, you can use one of these processing platforms, and guess what? You're now hit with a 1099 on that 10-year-old couch that you just sold, and it's up to you to keep the receipt of the 10-year-old couch, which no one's going to keep track of, and is going to be counted towards income. Now, that's not saying that next year they won't try to do this for personal accounts. So whereas a friend is reimbursing you for tickets that you bought them, they may just include that as income. Because I know in one state, if you get a federal income return or refund check, you must count that as income. I think that's, I want to say it's Oregon, which I don't agree with. I mean, the refund is you overpaid your taxes and you get a tax from the federal government, or the check if you do your finances correctly. However, this is something to keep in mind. It's kind of a hidden tax. It's probably going to hit you next year, so keep in mind in 2023 when it comes to your taxes, you may get a 1099-K, and hopefully it's not a surprise to you. With that being said, leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. Do you agree with the decision, or do you think that we need to move back the threshold to where it's 200 transactions? Or let's say it's 20K because you're renting out your apartment or your vacation home. Anytime that you make a profit, you should be paying taxes. Or do you agree with the $600 threshold? Or should it be up to like 10,000 or 5,000? I mean, these are just arbitrary numbers. Leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. Smash the like and subscribe button on all and any platforms. But most importantly, have yourself a wonderful day, morning, or evening.